Good morning, students. Today we're going to be doing a couple of different things, learning about Charles Darwin and his journey that ultimately changed the direction of science, especially science in terms of natural science. So part of your activity today is going to be creating a map where you've traced Darwin's journey on the RHMS Beetle. RHMS is the designation that is given to British ships. It stands for um, it either stands for His or Her Royal Highness Majesty's ships. So, anywho's, with this, what you're going to be doing is reading a bunch of different excerpts that Darwin compiled along his journey, and you're going to be placing them in chronological order on a map so you can see the journey that he took. It's a very awe-inspiring journey. It's a very brave thing that Darwin did, because if you think in 1831, you had only really boats and ships for transportation. It was a very labor-intensive, time-intensive journey that they took to get from point A to point B. They were gone 5 years on this journey that took them around the world through the southern hemisphere. And so we want to recreate that. So in order to recreate that, you first need to go here to Google Maps. In Google Maps, if you go to the search bar on the top left into the menu, you'll get a whole list of options where you can create or see different versions of the map. So what we want to do is go here to Your Places. Under Your Places is a tab called Maps. If you go here, depending on what you've done within Google Maps, if you've created one before, you'll see a whole bunch of different maps you've created. If you had me for Earth Science, this is very similar to the My River Basins map that we created in Earth Science as a project. But we're going to be creating something new today. So if you go down here to Create Map, it's going to open up a new window for you where you actually get to create your very own Google map that has points of interest just specific to Darwin's journey. So let's first change the title of the map. You can choose to title this however you would like. I'm going to go ahead and just call it Darwin's Journey. If you want to add a description here to help you understand what you're actually looking at, that'd probably be a good idea. So I'm going to go ahead and save this. So if I'm looking at the excerpts that you've been given that are on Canvas, I notice here that the very first excerpt is Devonport, England. And they left here on December 27th, 1831. But about 5 years later, they actually returned to this point. So I'm actually going to see this twice through these readings. But let's just focus on what to do to create your map. So I first want to place a marker at, you guessed it, Devonport, England. So yes, they give me longitude and latitude here, but it's very difficult because I don't know if you notice, but on here, unless you set it to have longitude and latitude lines, it's just a basic map. So I'm going to go to the search bar, type in Devonport, England, and poof, like magic, it takes me to exactly where I want to be. So keep in mind that we're talking about a naval voyage. So we're talking about ships and oceans. Well, when you type in Devonport, England, it doesn't place the marker where you want it. You're going to have to move it. Where you want to move these location markers, as long as it's in roughly the area that you need it, you're going to be fine. But remember, these are ships. Ships travel on water. So your markers are going to need to be along the coast, relatively close to the areas that they talk about in the excerpts. So I don't know exactly where they left from Devonport, but I do know that the Devonport Naval Heritage Center is a museum that actually talks about not only Darwin's journeys, but other large naval enterprises that actually took off from this region. So what I'm going to do to add this marker to the map to designate this location is I'm going to go here to Add to Map. And it now gives me an icon that I can actually move to wherever I would like to place. So I'm going to put it here at the coast, but this icon is kind of boring to me. So I want to make a couple of changes. The first change I want to do is I want to change the style. So I'm going to go to the paint can, and it's going to give me a whole bunch of different options, color options and icon options. Well, this is a nice little icon, but it's kind of boring. On a map I created before last year for Darwin's Journey, I chose a boat because he used a boat to get from place to place. But this year I want something a little different. So I'm going to choose a conifer tree in honor of Miss Conti. So now that I have my icon placed and I have it the color that I wish it to be, I'm going to come here to the pencil. This is an edit feature. And what I want to edit is I want to actually edit the name of this location. So I want to know that it is Devonport, but I want to know that it's 1831. This is where Darwin started his journey. So for each of these locations, you're given a little synopsis, a brief summary of what Darwin saw, what he observed, what kinds of things, specimens he located and collected. And so as you read through these, things that stand out to you, things that you find important, things that you find interesting, go ahead and add them here to this little summary box. So when we go back and we look through these, we can see what you thought to be relevant about this journey. The other thing that you're going to need to do is you're going to need to add images from these locations. So if you go to the camera and you open it, you may not have a photo of 1831 Devonport, England saved on your computer. But don't worry, go here to More, Google image search, and if you type in Devonport, England, 1831, oh my, look, it is magic. Multiple things have popped up. Now, looking just at these images, can you be 100% certain that these were from Devonport of 1831? Probably not, but usually the first image or three from Google is going to be an exact match to what you search. So all you have to do is click on it and hit insert, and it's going to add it to your little information box. If you want to add another, just hit add. If you want to delete it, you can hit the trash can. After each icon that you place, when you're ready to move on, you must hit save changes. As long as you see these items, the latitude and longitude, and these edit features here along the bottom, your icon is saved. So now we need to go to the second place, which is Cape Verde. So I'm going to type in here, Cape Verde, and it brings me up. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to hit add to map, and it's close enough to where I need it. It's along the coast, but I'm going to change it so I have the same icon along the entire route of the map. So again, I'm going to come here to edit. I'm going to give a brief, I'm going to change the name of it. So this one here is January 1832. So I'm going to type in January 16th, 1832. I'm going to give a brief description of, again, what Darwin saw, what he heard, what he observed here. I'm going to find an image and I'm going to save it here. These images can be of the location. They could be of maybe some of the species that he found, that he observed. You can go in and find pretty much anything, an image in Google, pretty much of anything that you're looking for. But again, make sure you hit save. So from each location, I'm going to zoom out for a second. So from each location, what you want to do is you want to connect these. You want to connect the dots. And you do that by using this line feature. So if you go here to draw a line, add line or shape, you take your little cursor, which is the little crosshairs, click on the one you want it to start with, drag it to where you want to end it. You've got your first line. Okay, what I would suggest doing is you can then name the line. So to get it to end, so you've got line, you can name it, you can part 1 of journey, or you could even say from 1831 to January of 1832. You save it and it's there. So you know exactly where they went, because some of these go back and forth. So just make sure you create your lines, you date and name and save.